Anime in spring 2023 feels like the best successor to winter 2023. Winter had shows like Vinland Saga, AOT Part Insert Number Here, Bungo Stray Dogs, and Trigun, but compared to this season, last one was mid as fuck. Well, I guess we did get Record of Ragnarok Season 2 and Revenger. This season, however, despite having the almighty Demon Slayer, Hell's Paradise, Ranking of Kings, and Konosuba, the shows making headway are the lesser known stories. Demon Slayer didn't have the entire world going crazy like it did last season. Instead, we had people showing their degrees in marine biology and animation by discussing the features of a CGI fish and why it's peak animation. Ranking of Kings has just been radio silent, and I didn't even know it was airing until I started making this video. But on the other side, Mappa's new baby child Hell's Paradise does not seem to meet the insanely high expectations people had of it. The show is still amazing, so it kinda saddens me to see it's not as mainstream as I hoped. And for Konosuba, it's great, but personally, Megumi was not the character that I liked most in the original. She was actually my least liked, so it is what it is. However, like I said, the new shows were a mixed bag of great, meh, and bad. I have a video on Oshinoko and Heavenly Delusion coming soon, so I won't talk about them here. My love story with Yamada-kun is on track to regress humanity by making gamers feel like they don't need to touch grass to meet women now. I had a lot of thoughts before starting it because the long necks of the characters reminded me of the Code Geass character designs, but just like with that show, I'm glad I watched it. It's a wholesome show that makes multiple characters relatable. The gamer boy who was not needed to pay attention to people for most of his life keeps getting interrupted by a college student whose life keeps getting jumbled. Meanwhile, a kid whose life was basically in shambles discovers a door in his house that leads him to another world where, get this, all the loot is transferable. So now he goes from looking like Rudius to looking like a high-def 2023 version of Issei Hyodo. I got a cheat skill in another world, started off pretty well, but it lost me because it became too self-inserty, if that makes sense, so I kinda dropped it. I don't know how I feel about having two anime in the same season with MCs that look so much like each other in an isekai, while also not looking like Kirito. Maybe that's a good thing, but Dead Mount Deathplay had a crazy start. The animation like the first 5 minutes went absolutely crazy. But I don't know, I fell asleep right after the first fight cause man, I was tired, but let me know if it's worth it and I'll start again. On the other isekai side, my one-hit kill sister tells the story of another otaku who got reincarnated but is weak in a new world. Unlike other stories with the same premise that end up making this dude OP, they made his sister who reincarnated herself to save him OP, so he's basically a fraud. He's like Kazuma and looks a bit like him but less funny. This is one of those mindless entertainment shows, but in random moments the animators just go crazy with a fight scene, so it's great to keep you on your toes. Kamikatsu is great, watch it. The legendary hero is dead is not an isekai, but it still involves reincarnation. Basically, the legendary hero is dead and the one who was responsible gets to live in his body. You can't watch this show in public cause the MC is a perv who loves to put stockings or whatever on girls' legs cause it makes their thighs look good. And I guess this show is pretty funny unironically, but to be honest, the best part about it so far is the opening. There's still so many more isekai, but I think people are getting more creative with them. Why Relena, is that how you say it? Ended up at the Duke's mansion is an isekai where the main girl gets reincarnated into a book essentially. So she gets to relive the love story of the book she used to love. As a fan of K-dramas, I highly recommend this. Safe to say there are a lot of isekai this season as usual, so let's talk about Summon to Another World for the second time. Yeah, I didn't say I was done with them. This premise really got me. It's like, okay, dude has been transported once before and he did his shit. So what new stuff can he do once he goes again? Turns out, he cannot do anything new. Just basically the same shit with the demon lord being in love with him, that's about it. And as far as people that are in love, The Dangerous in My Heart shows a pretty unique side to a love story. Yeah, the guy's the one more aware of his feelings early on, but he's misinterpreting his feelings. This guy sits in class just imagining and planning how he's gonna kill his stupid classmates. And the dumbest one to him is a girl who's obliviously cute and loves to eat because of course she does. But instead of trying to kill her like he claims he wants to, he always ends up doing things to save her when she didn't need it. For example, he lent her his blade for a project to help her cut the newspaper, but it turned out that she had already stained the project with chocolate and her teammate redid it. So all the courage it took for him to help her was for naught, and she ended up using him like a trash bag. I don't know how long the skit is going to go on for, but it's actually pretty funny. It's a show that's cute and it makes you feel bad sometimes for the emo kid. This next one is one that I feel I would make a full video on, Skip to Loafer. Or is it Skip on Loafer? It's the other feel-good story of the season, and you could just tell from the first episode that this will have sort of Horimiya vibes. Vibes where the characters do not run away from themselves all season. You feel something? You say it. Iwakura is the main female lead who is a pure country girl that got accepted into an elite high school in Tokyo. She tried her best and planned out how her first day was going to go, but unfortunately puked on the teacher, and if not for the guy who saved her when she was late, she would have become an outcast. Cause you know, beauty is power. Which sort of again reminds me of Kimi no Todoke. Now Sosuke, the male lead, comes across as this chill, stoic dude who doesn't seem to know how powerful he is because he's just casually walking around smiling and shit. But what I like from what I've seen so far is how well the pair of characters fit. Calm city boy meets a hot-headed country girl and immediately gets smitten and pulled into her fast-paced world. It's not really just about the romance though, which is what I'm sure makes it stand out. It's really about making meaningful friendships and building bonds that can last. But holy shit, that opening is simply the best thing to exist. The song is great and just captures the vibe of the show, but not only that, the dancing? Okay, when they started doing the chicken dance, I just kinda lost it. Not every love story involves two people who want to get married or want to date. Sometimes a love story involves parents who can and will do any and everything for their only daughter that they love. So the daughter in question was dating a bum in like the Yakuza or something, and after seeing that she had bruises on her face and hearing who did it, the dad decides to go to her apartment and see if he could get more info, and then guess what? He runs into the guy inside the apartment. Honestly, I don't want to say more to spoil it, just watch at least the first episode because it gets pretty crazy. I couldn't stop watching when I started because it was really good. Sometimes people's lives become dark because of bad decisions they've made, but for a few people, darkness is when their mind is in full throttle. Insomniacs After School is about Nakami who has trouble sleeping because his mind just wanders with negative thoughts, and by the time the sun comes up, he regrets having to go through the day only for night to come again. After a well-timed coincidence, he finds a hideout that he claims as his base, only to find another classmate in there who goes through the same thing he does. It's honestly pretty refreshing just watching a show with people just chatting away because they're restless, and it kinda has a different vibe to it from Yofukashi no Uta. This one feels more realistic, and I can see both the main leads falling for each other in a more relatable way. A boy who can't sleep ends up hating both the day and the night, meets a girl with the same issue who sees life in a more positive way than he does, and it in turn makes him want to live life to the fullest. Who knows if some supernatural elements will be introduced later, but for now, it's the perfect kind of show to relax and unwind to. This season had a lot of wholesome shows, but it wouldn't be an anime season if they didn't throw in some obscure shit. I Want You to Show Me Your Panties with a Disgusted Face is one of those shows. Now I know you're probably thinking, what the hell kind of name is this, where you're not alone? But this anime is actually quite shit. Episodes are like 5 minutes, and I had to skip through the one I saw because it's like a role-playing game where she's talking to you as you talk her into showing her you talk her into showing you her pants. It's an old anime, but it just got a new OVA. And on the other hand, My Life as Inukai-san's Dog was just so fucking weird and taints the sanctity of man's best friend. And at the request of absolutely no one, I hope, they released a 2-part OVA. Do not watch it. I'm pretty sure I missed some good shows, but all in all, this season was pretty stacked. There seems to be a bit of something for everyone, and anyone who starts something would definitely finish it. Well, probably except for me. But if I missed something that you liked this season, just let me know. That's it from me today, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.